let's get into Snow White. Disney is now facing a discrimination lawsuit over Snow White, the snub of little people actors who were replaced by cartoons and the woke live action remake. Who writes this caption? The little people stars of Snow White are planning a class action lawsuit against Disney for replacing them with cartoons. I didn't even know they could do that because I feel like that's just a creative choice. I don't know if it's like really like discrimination, but it looks like a bunch of actors are rallying together. I mean, actress Allie Chapman, who is 50 years old and 3 foot 8 inches tall, said that 7 talented little people actors could have played those roles in the live action remake, and yet they chose to use cartoons. It's an insult and discriminatory. Last month, a class action lawsuit was filed against Disney, accusing it of discriminating against visitors with disabilities at its theme parks. It claims that they have introduced rules on passes that require them to disclose medical information where other staff and guests could overhear. I do feel like there's a lot of tension over at Disney, which is why we had this Snow White fiasco. Like, even though Rachel Zegler is a nightmare, I don't put all the blame onto her because I do feel like everything at Disney, the creative, the parks, everything, there's a lot of tension that's building over. I thought the parks were made for kids. I wasn't a kid that got to go to Disney. We didn't do none of that growing up, you know, living in Virginia. It's expensive too. So I thought it was for kids. It looks like it's more of adults that I see there nowadays. I don't know if the parks are even built for that. There's so many people there that it's so crowded. And I think there's a lot of like anger building up over at Disney. A lot of people are upset over Snow White. I'm really just hoping that the Lilo and Stitch movie can bring us all back together.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the
call
dwarves though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erase that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV, there's power of television, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
I understand where they're coming from because I think of like how there are so many straight people who play gay roles, or what if we had like instead of like black people they put or CGI, or the same for anything. It's just like it's not cool. It's also just not real. And it reminds me of like randomly the speech that Jay-Z did a long time ago with Tidal, where he talked about like trying to bring realness back to music, like sound wise, because everything was getting so electronic. And I feel like the age of movies and television, like there might be a need for this realness. I don't think that, like, I didn't like seeing how the 7 dwarfs were portrayed in Snow White. I do think that there was plenty of room for them to go and hire actors, especially with the budget like $250 million.
Seems like nowadays you can protest about just about anything. Well, why don't I begin a protest about the fact that Disney decided to use CGI dwarfs, not even the real thing. We could have gotten higher, we could have gotten money for something, but no.
He's right, because that is a lot of money lost. And I mean, Snow White in general really flopped for Disney beyond just being a bad film. An analysis of the Snow White movie that shows since 2019 that over 250 Disney film sets were examined, and that the live action Snow White was responsible for emitting at least over 4,000 tons of carbon dioxide. This staggering amount ranks as the second highest polluting Disney movie on record, following the remake of The Little Mermaid, which talked up to almost 6,000 tons of CO2. Which that is insane. I didn't even know people were measuring those things. Despite a hefty production budget that was between $240 to $270 million, the film had a lukewarm opening weekend, bringing in only $42 million, which is way less. It's not enough to go and pay the bills.
We spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend. It was so delicious. The thing they spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live action Disney remakes that they've ever had. Even the one that was their worst, Dumbo, did better than this has done. And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one. Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power. We could go on. It didn't work.
The Dumbo thing is crazy. Not like Snow White doing worse than Dumbo. But I do think Rachel Zegler has become an easy target for people to go and shift the blame onto her, which really sucks for her career. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Her co-star Gal Gadot also found herself in hot water for getting political, talking about what was going on in Israel and Gaza and still going on out here. But Gal did not make the same impressions that Rachel did. Rachel really did her big one, talking about how the film was going to focus on feminism, which I think that's good. I think it's just the way that she framed it. It made a lot of old Disney fans feel like a little bit like scrutinized for liking the original Snow White, I guess. Let's get into Onijah Robinson. Now, you guys remember that random woman from New York that went to Pakistan and told them that she demands $20,000 or more a week and she was going to take over the country? Look at this headline. Claims she married her Pakistani lover, got offered $100,000 a week from Pakistani government, and didn't get jailed until Dubai. Now, I don't believe one word that comes out of this woman's mouth, but I cannot look away. She contradicts herself so much, going back and forth, saying there was a situation in Dubai, and it seems like the government in Dubai like issued some way to go and send her back to the States because they did not know how to deal with her. If you guys don't remember, here was Onijah in Pakistan.
Pakistan needs to be reconstructed the right way. Do you hear me, guys? Make sure y'all get this on your camera. I'm married to Nidel Hamid. I'm Onijah Hamid. We are moving to Dubai very soon. We're gonna have our baby in Dubai. I want 20K up front. 5K to 10K to stay here every week because we might just move, me and my family, and I want those demands from the government right away. I want these houses to be built up correctly.
Now, Onijah almost looks unrecognizable here, but here she is recently caught up on the streets of New York.
Everyone's asking, where have you been?
Well,
come on the sidewalk.
Well, I'm glad to be back in New York. I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that. That's all I have to say for right now.
One more
follow
shot.
my coins, follow everything.
Did you end up going to jail, or was that not a thing? Like, does anyone say she was just stuck in jail?
Well, listen, I didn't go to jail. I was just stuck in Dubai. It was a situation that happened in Dubai that I couldn't get over at the time, and that was it.
How long were you there for?
I was there for a month.
Wow, after Pakistan.
After Pakistan, yes, I was.
That is so.
Oh my gosh, this sounds in New York. Why am I like my heart's starting to raise? Like I can't even pay attention to what she's saying because there's too stimulating.
Crazy. So then how did you end up getting out? Like, did you get in touch with like the embassy or?
Actually, I'll keep all that private and tell you guys that later.
Now, Onijah claims that she married her 19-year-old Pakistani lover, Nidal Ahmed, who I believe they had like some kind of online relationship. Then she went to Pakistan looking for him, and then he saw what she was like and realized that she's like in her mid 30s, which shout out to the girls in their 30s. I'm now in my 30s now. But anyways, realized that she wasn't the one. But I think that when she hit the streets and got all that fame and popularity, he ended up like being peer pressured by his community to go and get her because they were married, according to her. Onijah claims the Pakistani government was going to pay her $100,000 every week, but she left, which is insane because I don't think they even, like, one, they don't, like, we're not operating in dollars out there. I believe it's rupees, right? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But also the government's not handing over any money to her. She also revealed she'll be having her own show out soon with her husband. Don't worry, everything's exclusive. It's coming out. Oh, I really hope that TLC got into contact with her. This comment reads, something is wrong here. Another person writes, why does she have an agency? And then finally this comment reads, please make it stop. Let's get into TikTok. Now, it seems like this TikTok saga is just going to continue and continue because they'll just keep delaying it. Donald Trump signed some paperwork to go and delay the ban of TikTok, which I'm glad because I'm almost at 200,000 followers on TikTok. I've been loving it over there. It looks like in their new agreement, ByteDance, the company who owns TikTok's algorithm, will maintain a minority ownership in the new company under the 20% threshold required by Congress. I believe when there's a company that's maybe based out of the US. Trump also announced some tariffs recently, and it seems like I heard something where it sounds like he's going to like use the tariffs as a way to negotiate with TikTok. Like they'll be like, hey, like we'll take off 10%, or I'll take off 10% if you like give us TikTok, which I don't know how that's going to work. It looks like we now have 75 more days, or actually, let's think about this. So this podcast comes out on the 9th, and we got 75 days on the 5th. So we've got 71 days until the ban again. So we'll touch base when it comes, but I feel like something will happen. I mean, it has to, unless we just end up in another, like a world war, which we are not manifesting that right now. Hell no. Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.